how Chloe mentioned, I'll be presenting about Noche de Ciencias and the execution and the grants associated with it. A little bit about myself, Ken Linares. I'm the regional junior representative for Region 2. I've been involved with SHPE since 2017 spring at UCI. My last year at UCI in 2018, 2019, I was the executive vice president for the chapter. We when part of the executive board, we won a total of 14 awards for the year, including the SHPE National Medium Chapter of the Year Award. So that was definitely very, very rewarding, very exciting time. That was also the last national we had in person, so makes it a little bit more special right now. Go back. Sorry. I graduated in 2019 with a degree in civil engineering, and now I currently work for the greatest company in the world, Turner Construction, down in San Diego. I am originally from Northern California, from Westo, but I'm down in San Diego, and can't complain too much about it because it's a beautiful city. So if you guys ever have the chance, definitely check it out, visit, things like that. So let's get started on it. And again, I mean, this is a workshop for you guys just to give you guys some tips on how to host events. I mean, there are many ways to do things, many different things you could do. And me and my position and in nationals as well is we serve as a resource to kind of guide you in one direction, but ultimately, you can make it your own event, however you want it. Yeah, I hope this helps out with you guys. Real quick, hopefully all of you guys know what it is, but what is SHPE Junior? Hopefully all of you guys here know what it is, but in case you don't, real quick, it is SHPE's outreach K through 12 outreach program. And again, it's just a way for us to encourage younger students, younger generation to pursue a higher education. And it gives a lot of these students, and I will say this right now, I mean, I went to UCI, so a lot of my experiences and that I'm going to reference are from UCI, but we went to a high school, Century High School, that had a high Hispanic population. So it gives students opportunities to network and do things like that we didn't have growing up. And again, lift as you rise. I think I heard it at UCI, but I've heard it throughout SHPE, and that's a common theme with a lot of us, that as you're being successful and things like that, don't forget about those that are coming behind you. That way, we get more diversity in engineering, because even me that works in construction, I see the lack of representation in the higher management and engineering positions. A lot of the workers are Hispanic or Mexican, just because we're right next to Tijuana. But when it comes to the engineers and management and things like that, it's not very diverse. So things like Junior can definitely help out and making things like that a lot better for our community. So Noche de Ciencias, again, in case you guys don't know what this is, it is supposed to be an interactive outreach event for high school students, ideally in the school that you do have a chapter in. And it's not just supposed to be for students, it's supposed to be for parents as well. That way the parents kind of get an idea for what Noche de Ciencia is, and not just that, what college degrees are, what possibilities are available for their kids, and how can they support their students in pursuing a higher education. And again, I think with Noche de Ciencias, what it helps a lot of students realize, at least at an early age, is what is possible with a STEM degree. I think if you ask a younger kid, like, what does an engineer do or something, they might think of just math and equations and all this, like, kind of the more harder and boring stuff to them. But I think with Noche de Ciencias is a great opportunity to kind of show them those hands-on experiments and show them like the cool things that are possible with STEM. For example, like we could build mini rockets, things like that. electrical, battery powered car, things like that. Like it shows them that engineering and STEM isn't just doing calculations, 4-page calculations to find that you find an answer, that you might have done wrong. So, I think this is a great way to get students interested at an early age and, put them on the right path. And again, I mean, I think the parents are a big part of it. A lot of the Noche Ciencias workshops do incorporate parents. They talk to them about funding sources and things like that. That way they can support their students and they don't feel as lost or as intimidated when it comes to their kids going to school and things like that. So preparation for Noche de Ciencias, this is a big one. I think, if you have a good team, which I know a lot of the SHPE members, they're all great people. So, you guys are already starting off with a good foot, but, creating committees, for Noche de Ciencias, whether that's a SHPE junior committee you already have at your school, or it can be one that you start specifically for Noche de Ciencias, either one, it could definitely be very helpful. And with committees, you could they help you brainstorm, plan, and execute the event, and it's a good foundation for how the overall thing is going to go about. A big one as well is interactive experiments. Again, we don't want the kids to think that STEM is just boring math or science equations all day long, which I found it fun and interesting, but not everybody will. So I think showing them interactive experiments and what is possible with them is a great way to make sure that they see the fun side of engineering and STEM. And it could be at all types of difficulty levels, what you decide to do. It could be something as simple as making a paper airplane and seeing how far it goes, to wiring a car, or even Raspberry, I believe it's called, something like that. But you showed them how to code and things like that. It could be various difficulty levels and various things that will help them learn. And again, and then it's also good to do like small group activities, because it's sometimes a little intimidating to have a giant group of people, and then nobody wants to talk, when you break them up into smaller teams and kind of call people out a little bit, help them get engaged, things like that. And then even ask them like if they understand what's going on, what's the science behind what they're doing, things like that. So those are also great ways to get them involved, things like that. Competitions are a good one. Again, I mentioned that like you could have them build simple as paper airplanes and just see who throws the furthest battery powered cars, things like that. Make a rocket and see who could go up the highest. Things like that will keep students engaged during these events. And raffles, just give out raffles, whether it's something that the chapter comes up with or something that somebody donates to the school, a company, things like that. So raffling things again will make things a lot more interesting. Guest speakers, it is a good way to kind of show students that whatever they're dreaming, whatever they want to do, it is possible. It's always great for students to see someone that looks like them in a position they want to be in, or somewhere they might see themselves in a few years. So that's why guest speakers are a great way to do it. You could have anything from, it could even be a university student, that does a quick presentation about how their transition was from high school to college, and you can have their experiences and how they got to where they're at. Because again, that way everybody can, the kids can see, that it is possible that people like them are in positions. And then advertising, again, I think advertising is a big part of Noche Ciencias, as you see with Region 2. Alondra has done a great job at keeping everybody updated on every little thing we do, which is great. She keeps you guys entertained. Miguel has some great TikToks going on. So in case you guys aren't following them, make sure you guys get on them. So yeah, advertising, whether it's social media, email blast, use the SHPE Junior advisor as a resource. They have resources that could send out emails to the whole school, They can even reach out to other schools themselves, and or even just flyers, old school flyers. Like our, at least from my experience, my parents don't have email. They could barely use their smartphones. They have the iPhone 12, but they could barely use it or whatever, right? But yeah, I mean, flyers are simple. Just give them out at school, give them out, send them out in mails, things like that. And then funding, we'll get into a little bit more detail later, but funding is a big thing. You want to make sure that you do have the proper funding to make these events successful, things like that. And one thing is, you don't even need to have a SHPE Junior chapter established to host Noche de Ciencias, which I think is a great thing about it. We are trying to impact the lives of these younger students and things like that. So that is a great way. Even if you don't have a SHPE Junior established, you could just hit up a high school or hit up multiple high schools, see who's interested, and then host one. I know for UCSD, they don't have a SHPE Junior necessarily established, but they reach out to multiple high schools in their area, and that's how kind of they do their outreach program. So so virtual Noche de Ciencias, obviously we are still in the era of COVID. So unfortunately, this is still a thing. So yeah, Noche de Ciencias virtual still, I mean, you want to keep students engaged. I think that's one of the biggest things, a lot of the kids, whatever they're in, I mean, they've been on it for a year already, so they're kind of used to it. But still, if you're going to have them sitting in front of a computer for however long, even if it's a couple hours to 5, 6, 7 hour event, like, you want to keep them engaged. You want to keep their interest. You want to keep them, wanting more, so definitely keeping students engaged is a big one. Breakout rooms like we do here, it's a great way for kids to get to know each other, and also a little bit be more intimate. That way they're not intimidated to ask a question or things like that when it's um, a smaller crowd. And you could even break it up into different grade levels, different topics. And I'll talk a little bit more about what Region 6 did in their RLDC, but they broke it up into like kindergarten to third, I think, or it might have been elementary schools, middle, and then high schools for their breakout rooms. So even things like that, because I think kids in different ages will have different interests and different questions to ask, interactive animated speakers, I've worked in construction, so I never really went home in a sense. So I never worked from home. I can't build from home. So I was always having in-person meetings, still having in-person work. So I never got used to the online event. But yeah, just having interactive speakers and animated speakers definitely helps out. That way, again, it keeps the students engaged and interested in what they're doing. And one of the great things about having it virtual is that your attendance can be from anywhere. I think it was U of A, I believe, or yeah, U of A, that they hosted an event and they reached out even to the small border towns in Mexico, just San Luis, Colorado, I think was one of them, right at the border of Mexico. I mean, they were just trying to reach out anybody. And again, it wasn't about just doing it at their own high school. They were trying to make an impact with as many students as they can. So that's one great thing about it being virtual. It doesn't have to be at one school. It could be a whole city. It could be a county. It could be as many people as you like, as you can handle. A good one too is just still raffles, give out gift cards, things like that. And even having online competitions, you could have students submit something beforehand, like an art competition, or even during, like, take 10 minutes and draw up what you think a engineer does for a living, things like that. So Region 6, just a little bit about what they did. Again, they hosted like a virtual Noche de Ciencias during their RLDC. It was like a 3-day event. Yeah, 2 or 3-day event, I believe. And again, they just hosted different workshops for like different grade levels, different students, and things like that. Made it, even had one for parents to listen to about applying to schools, applying to scholarships, how to apply for FAFSA, and simple things like this that to us by now might seem a little simple. But again, I mean, whether it's us our first time or second time, like, I'm currently helping my little sister apply. She just got into some schools, which is great, but I was helping her apply and apply to FAFSA a few months ago, and I completed things like that, definitely. And if we have time, I'll come back and go to the website here. That way we can kind of see what they're going to do. And then another thing I want to talk about real quick too, and I didn't have it on here, but is SHPE National is going to be rolling out 3 virtual Noche Ciencias next month, or I mean, sorry, in May. They're going to be rolling, it's going to be 1 event per region in a sense. So it's kind of like RLDC. Region 1 and 2 is going to be on May 18th. Region, I guess the only one you guys care about, right? 1 and 2. But region 3, 5, and 6 is going to be on May 19th. And then regions 4 and 7 is going to be on May 20th. And that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday event. They are going to be rolling it out. I'm not sure if like it's been nationally advertised, but I just want to put that on you guys' radars. It is going to be first come, first serve. And I think the cap is like 150 per event. So something to keep an eye out for. And again, if you want ideas of how to host one, or if you're not sure, you could reach out to me, or even events like this, attending other events that are being hosted. That way you kind of get an idea of what to do. Right now, I'll put all the information on the chat. That way you guys have it, the deadlines, and some of the information. And again, I'm not sure if it's been rolled out officially yet, like advertised to the whole region, but it will be coming soon. So again, keep an eye out for that. So grants. So this is a big one. So at least from when I was in school, I'm not sure if this is something we took advantage of, but I know it's not something that's widely known. So I do want to make sure that you guys are aware of these things, these resources that are available to all of you. So SHPE National offers 2 different grants, mini grants and reimbursement grants. They're basically free money for hosting Noche Ciencias. So again, I mean, although outreach with younger students are sometimes seem to be like get a lot of attention in a sense from like people wanting to help out and things like that, but people, a big one is money. You want to be able to host a successful event, give out prizes if you can, give out food, whatever it is, buy the material, but the material alone to host these experiments is very, very expensive at times. So again, one of the ones is the SHPE mini grant. It's $500. There are some requirements. So one of them is at least 50 attendees, and that does not include volunteers or any speakers, things like that. It could be, but the attendees are students and parents and faculty members. Those count as attendees. They do fund about 20 chapters every year nationally. And again, we do have hundreds of chapters, but I mean, I know not everybody's applying to it. So that's why I want to give you guys region 2 here, kind of first dibs on them. So you guys are aware and you guys are taking advantage of these. And they do require like sign-in sheets. Always keep your receipts. That way, if you're asking for $500, they're going to be like, well, what'd you spend it on? And you're just, that way you can prove that that's what you need. And one of the cool things is that you can apply at any time during the year. So it doesn't, there is no window. Like if you want it, you got to apply before October or by the end of the year or by February, whatever it is. Whenever you're going to host your event, you can apply for it, which is cool because, schools host it at different times of the year. Some even host multiple ones. So it's something cool to take advantage of. And again, I mean, it's free money. There's nothing, kind of Emily said earlier, the hardest thing is just starting it. With these mini grants, you do get 2 disbursements. The first one is $250 before the event. That way it kind of gets you going and helps you out a little bit. And the second would be $250 post event if you do end up getting the scholarship. This one does come with 2 applications, 2 quick short applications. Again, one before and one after. Well, one before just kind of summarizing what the event will be and what you expect it to be. And then the second application to get the next $250 is just kind of recap of the event and what you guys did and things like that. And a lot of these things that SHPE National requires are online on the website. And I'll show you guys that a little bit after this. So the next one is reimbursement grants. So the Noche Ciencias reimbursement grants. Again, this one's up to $4,000 that SHPE National gives out for Noche Ciencias. That's a lot of money. That's going to be a very successful event. This one, they do only give out about 40 a year, obviously, because it is a lot more money. Again, proof of actual expenses, you do need receipts. So that's a big one. Make sure you keep all your receipts for every little thing you bought. That way you could back up any request for money that you have. Unfortunately, this one is distributed after the event. So that's where you kind of have to gamble a little bit in a sense. Hopefully you don't go out expecting to get it, but like I said, they do give out. And the thing is, they don't give out just 4,000. They do it based on participants. So if you only had 50 to 100, you only qualify for 1,000. If you do 100 to 150, it's 2,000, and then 150 to 200, it's 3,000. 200 plus attendees, you get qualified for up to 4,000. So it doesn't all have to be $1,000. So again, I mean, if you're having a small chapter, a small event or whatever, and it's only 50, you're still qualified for $1,000, which again, still help out a lot. So the only downside is that you do get this after. So just keep that in mind and make sure you're able to cover those expenses. And again, I mean, SHPE National does like about 40 a year. So that's always a good amount. And again, not a lot of people know about these. So again, make sure you guys are taking advantage of this. And again, with both of them, you could apply at any time, whether you host it in August or in April, you could host at any time. So, apply anytime. So make sure you are taking advantage of these free money, basically, that Nationals is giving out. And other sources of funding, again, companies is a big one. I mean, here you see the IPC that SHPE National partners with. And again, these are companies that already give money to SHPE National at a national level, but that has nothing to do with them sponsoring a local event if there's a local company in your area. Again, and most of us live in big cities, so we live in Southern California, Nevada, Arizona. So there's a lot of big companies near us. So make sure we're taking advantage of these. Again, if just because they sponsor SHPE at a national level doesn't mean they won't do it locally. So make sure you're hitting up these companies. It doesn't have to be just a big corporation. It could be a local company. So, a lot of the owners or workers at local companies are probably alumni from the high school you're hosting the Noche Ciencias at, so take advantage of that. These are great resources, big companies, but also the small companies. Those are the ones to look into, the local mom and pop shops. Some of them might be able to help out with some of the funding just because they have a kid that goes there, or they went there when they were in high school. So that's a good way to good thing to take advantage of. Fundraisers, it's something we all do. We've all done. So it just make it specifically for SHPE Junior, and that would really help out. And then I know at UCI, I think it was the SOAR program. I could be completely wrong, but we did have a program at UCI that would help out student chapters with outreach initiatives. So they would give out a lot of money. So again, there's different places to look for funding. Take advantage of them, look into them. Your schools might be a great resource. So make sure you're looking at what else is out there to help out. And again, the SHPE National website itself is very helpful. If you're not sure how to start, if it's going to be your first one hosting one, or if you just kind of want to try something new, a lot of the things that they require for these grants that I mentioned earlier could be found directly in their website. So again, they want sign-in sheets. You have them right here. They do want you to sign like accident media release waiver for the students, because you might be taking pictures, and SHPE National might use these pictures in advertising and things like that. So we got to get those signed. Branded flyers, fundraising letters that you would give out to either companies or whatever it is, keynote speaker invitation, sample letter for target school. Like there's an event manual, like, so Noche Ciencias can seem a little overwhelming, but again, with the regional team and SHPE National, there's a lot of resources out there to make it a lot less intimidating and make sure that you host a successful event. So I do want to go show you guys how easy it is to apply to these grants and scholarships that they offer for Noche Ciencias. So again, just going to the SHPE National website, looking at SHPE Junior, you are going to be taken to their page right here. I hope you, okay. And again, I mean, it tells you everything you need to know about Noche Ciencias, about the program. Funding, it's right here. This is the mini grants. And then this right here is the reimbursement grants. And then, like all those things I mentioned earlier, here are all the resources you might need for hosting Noche Ciencias. If you're not even sure what events to host, what experiments to do, there's even links right here of where to get inspirations for some of the experiments you could host during Noche Ciencias. And then they're even coming up with parent resources. So again, it's very well outlined on SHPE National website. So make sure you guys are taking a look at this and taking advantage of the resources that are here. But again, I want to show you guys how easy it is. So if I were doing the reimbursement grant, you'd click here, like you guys saw with Emily, you'd be taken to logging in, and then for some reason to this smart selecting. So this is the first area right here. The first part of the application was just like basic information. It was like your name, your chapter, which grant is you're applying for, and then who should it be paid out to if you were to get the money, right? Again, I skipped that part. I did already, and these are some of the very few questions that they ask. Seems like a lot, but it's not, to apply for the scholarship, right? So attendee grade levels, right? Please all the apply, just mark all that up. Actual number of attendees. So this is post-event. This is going to be the fact sheet, the sign-in sheets, or whatever you use to list all these things. So again, just post-event, come here, fill it out. Some of these things can even be filled out beforehand. So and you could leave and come back later. That way it doesn't seem like overwhelming in one sitting. Educators, SHPE volunteers, not SHPE volunteers. Event start date, end date, easy to do. Duration, easy. Name of event, Noche Ciencias, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. You have a special name for it. That's great. Location, city, state, zip, all simple information you got to put in. And then this is probably in a sense, the most difficult part of these applications is just event details. You got to describe the event, 100 words. It's not much, you'll fill up those 100 words very quickly. Again, you want to highlight the success of the event. What was successful the event, quantify it if possible, reached 150 high school students from all over San Diego or all over Arizona, all over Phoenix, all over Los Angeles, things like that. And again, I mean, you want to almost like applying to a scholarship or a job, you want to tailor it to that. So, like SHPE, how many people, how many students' lives did you change? How many people did you impact? How did you empower the Hispanic community? You could even quantify that. You went to a school that's 70% Hispanic, things like that, or a school that has a low college attendance rate, and you expose 50 students, because it doesn't have to be a huge event to make an impact, it's hard to reach every student in a big event, but even if it's a small event, as long as you reach one student, you change one person's life, that's where it kind of starts, and a domino effect, a forest doesn't grow in one day, you gotta start tree by tree, things like that. So again, just describe the event details and quantify as much as possible, highlight the successes, things like that. Describe any collaboration with SHPE chapters. How, again, Emily mentioned earlier, like you never want to leave anything blank. So again, even if one professional showed up from the local professional chapter, one student from a different SHPE chapter showed up, that's still collaboration. Obviously still invite these other chapters and make them feel welcome and tell them to come participate in your event. But always, highlight what you collaborated with other SHPE chapters. And again, you don't want to leave anything blank. So make sure you sell it that you collaborate with other local chapters in your area. And again, with the whole online event, like it's very easily done. Collaboration with other organizations, whether you invited in, when we hosted one, I think a couple people from SWE showed up. So, or Mayas, it could be Mayas, whatever it is, you want to collaborate with other organizations. If nobody from another club came by, even if a local corporation came by, it could be a different high school that you collaborated with. Again, highlight those things. You don't want to leave anything blank. Other schools, local companies, whoever sponsored you guys, just make sure you highlight that you collaborated with someone and what was successful, or how did they contribute to your event. Cost of everything, easy. Additional revenue. Obviously, you might have already received money from other sources, but you still want to, sell why the SHPE grant or will help out your event, how much better it will be with the SHPE grant. So things like that, you still want to highlight it, and how it's going to help on top of other financial sources. Because one, the other sources might not have been enough, or you hosted something special, or you want to do something special for the next event or something like that. So make sure you're just, again, filling out everything and how, highlighting how the added sources, if at all, or it might be your only source of funding. So make sure you're highlighting things like that in these applications. Actual cost, how much you're asking for funding. Again, doesn't have to be exactly the same. Obviously, we would want, but even if you got sources from other companies, but you only need $500 more, you could request only $500 and put here that the total cost was 5,000, but you only want 500, which is nothing wrong with it. And again, the last part is just the receipts that I mentioned are important to keep. Just upload them here. The media and liability release forms that were signed by the students, upload them here. That's easy. And then a couple of photos taken during the event. 5 photos, 5 of the best photos you can find. You can easily upload them here. So things like that, and then at the end, it's sign-in sheets. And again, all of that could be found on the SHPE National website. So it's a pretty straightforward application, very easy application. I wanted to make sure that you guys saw how easy it was. That way you guys don't feel intimidated whenever it is your time to apply for them. It's an easy, and again, if you ever need help with any of these, you can feel free to reach out to me. I could help you guys, walk you guys through them and help you guys fill these out. Cause again, it's easy money to get from nationals, and again, something that isn't very widely known. So again, take advantage of these things, easy application. The mini grant one is even easier than this one. So make sure you guys are taking advantage of that. I did want to show you guys the website that Region 6 put up. Region 6 did a great job. They really did. And actually the rollout that Nationals is going to have is based on this Noche Ciencias that Region 6 hosted during Engineers Week. So again, they did a great job, so much that Nationals wants to roll it out at a national level. And again, I mean, it was 2-day event, 3rd to 12th through 12th graders. And the great thing, again, it was regional. So all of Region 6 was invited to this. All the SHPE junior chapters were invited. All the students that were able to go, they made them. One thing that they did say was that this event is better during the week, just because it's almost like an after school club. Students are already in class, and then they just jumped in on this and spent another hour or two learning about STEM. And again, they have a lot of different things. What is STEM, STEM Familia, funding college, many resources. And again, here's some of the rooms they had. And again, it was a quick 1 or 2 session, and then they were out for those 2 days. They broke it into grade levels, funding college. Again, that way students and parents know things about it. And again, see right here, industry sponsorship, Medtronic and Eden. Again, 2 big companies, but again, if for some reason you can't get that, the local companies are just as good. And if not, the SHPE grants are available. And again, I mean, they did a great job at putting all of this together. They had, and again, I spoke to them and asked them like what made them so successful. And one thing they said was their committee, their members that put it all together, very prepared, very passionate about what they were doing. And they did something that, impacted the lives of many students and things like that. So yeah, feel free. I'll post all this right now on the chat. That way you guys do have it available and you guys could look at it if you guys have any questions. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions later on, things like that, feel free to reach out to me at rgr2@ship.org. And yeah, I mean, I'm here to help out for any resources. I am a resource, I work for you guys. So if there's anything I can do, anything that could help out with, whether you guys need help putting an event together or just, bouncing off ideas, I'm here to help out. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Kenny. The presentation will be available to you guys with the resource link as well that we send out. And you're also welcome to fill out the feedback form. We will forward any questions that you have for Kenny to him, and we'll get back to you guys on those answers. You guys are welcome to unmute yourselves or write in the chat if you have any questions.
All right, I can get started with the question. Hey, Kenny, is there any deadline or time range to fill out the grants for Noche de Ciencias? Can they be filled out anytime during the year?
Yeah, so that's one of the cool things about it. They don't have a deadline. They don't have a timeline. Like you want to host one in August, you want to host one in December, you want to host one midsummer. Like they're available there for whenever you're hosting your event. So yeah, there's no deadline, no timeline. Just fill it out whenever you do host your event, and it'll be available to you.
Okay, awesome. And are these grants good for any kind of outreach event for high school outreach, or like what are the grants good for?
So I think Nationals hasn't specifically for Noche de Ciencias, but there's nothing, that keeps you from applying them if you host some kind of outreach event that isn't necessarily Noche de Ciencias. It could be something else that, like I think UCSD host, I think it's Exceed, what they host every year, something along those lines. So even if it's not necessarily, Noche de Ciencias, it's an outreach event, and that's really what I think Nationals wants to do, just help out, get the word out for STEM and motivate students. So there's nothing stopping you from applying as long as it's an outreach event.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard the situation of schools? Like, are they back in person? Is there any, is that coming anytime soon?
I mean, I think that'll be different for everybody. I think in San Diego, I know some of the schools went back already. Back in Northern California, my little sister, they're going back actually this Monday. So I think schools are transitioning more into going back into in-person with some restrictions, but we could finally get back to hosting these in person. And if not, I mean, we obviously still want to keep everybody safe. We don't want to expose anybody. So even though those schools are open, if they are open, we should still consider the risk, I guess, and the safety of everybody else. So we might still be virtual for next few months.
If we don't have any more questions, we can go ahead and get started on the breakout room. So Miguel, if you want. Oh. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. So as far as the funding goes, do you know if it's like unlimited funding, or is there a certain amount of funding available and then once it's gone, it's gone?
Yeah, so I know I don't think that they have like, we're only gonna give out $20,000. Like they do have their number of grants they give out. So the mini grants, like I said, I think it's 40 per year. So like that, so it's the mini grants are $500, so that is like a set amount. But the reimbursement grants, they give about 20 a year, and it could be $24,000 ones or $21,000 ones. So it's more based on the number that they give out, not necessarily on the funding amount.
Thank you.